open for the speedster, Goodwin. And Goodwin!
On a quiet Sunday in 2017, San Francisco 49ers receiver Marquise Goodwin blew past the New York Giants defense with an electrifying 83-yard touchdown.
Is gone! A 49er touchdown!
But instead of a normal touchdown dance, Goodwin slowed as he approached the goal line. He lifted his right hand, blew a kiss to the sky, and crossed into the end zone before dropping to his knees in prayer.
Kneeled in the end zone and was embraced by teammates. Well, just a little while ago, we learned Goodwin's infant son died early this morning due to complications during his wife's pregnancy.
Teammates rushed over to surround him, unsure why he was suddenly on the ground. The crowd cheered, but Marquise's eyes were closed, tears streaming down as he pointed both hands toward heaven. Marquise Goodwin is a story of blazing speed, Olympic dreams, and unfortunately, of love and loss, of a family's strength in the face of devastating heartbreak. Marquise Goodwin wasn't just known for his speed on the football field. He's a world-class athlete who once competed in the Olympic long jump, and one of the fastest men to ever play in the NFL. That's right, he was an Olympian before going into the NFL. Picture the NFL in the early 2010s. The Buffalo Bills? Yeah. They were trapped in this endless 6-10 loop, like a bad playlist stuck on repeat. No playoffs since the 90s, no spark, no star power. Fans were over it. Ownership was desperate. They needed something, anything. They needed to flip the script. Then came Marquise Goodwin. This kid out of Texas wasn't just fast, he was different. A walking cheat code. He held 7 state titles by the time he was out of high school. He went to the 2012 London Olympics as a long jumper. Then he ran a 4.27 at the NFL Combine, making scouts lose their minds. One of the fastest dudes to ever lace it up. His nickname was literally Speed Demon. But Marquise wasn't all speed. He was deep. He had a heart. People described him as soft-spoken but competitive as hell. And yeah, he smiled a lot, but behind the eyes, there was something else. Something you couldn't quite name. In 2013, the Bills made their move. Snagged him in the 3rd round, 78th overall. He signed a $2.85 million rookie deal, and the front office treated it like they'd found buried treasure. They wanted him to be the next big thing. Their deep ball demon. The guy who could finally stretch defenses and bring the energy back to Buffalo. From the outside, it looked like the start of something special. But sometimes, the most beautiful beginnings hide the inevitable. Away from the field, Marquise's life was on a fairy tale path. He married Morgan Snow in 2016. His college girlfriend, another track star, just as fierce and faithful. Big dreams, big plans, their big hearts focused on family and faith. They were living the American dream, but something was coming. Marquise Goodwin's NFL start was rocky at best. His debut with the Bills was a spark, not a fire. Yeah, the speed was there, and no DB could hang with him on any go route. But the problem wasn't acceleration, it was availability. In just 3 seasons with Buffalo, he logged 20 catches for 349 yards. That's not a stat line, that's a fail. But why? One word: injuries. First, it was a concussion, then an ankle, then ribs. Each time he started to find a rhythm, his body failed him. Fans and coaches started wondering, is he too small for this league? Is he made of glass? With every drop, every missed game, it felt like he was pointing to something deeper. Like it wasn't just his body that was breaking. Something else was cracking too. Then came 2016. Finally, a little light. Goodwin posted 29 receptions for 431 yards and 3 touchdowns. His best season so far. He wasn't there yet, but the potential was real. Just give him the right team, the right system, and this man might explode. He found that home with the San Francisco 49ers. He signed with them in 2017, just as the franchise was spiraling. They were 0-9, and nobody was watching. But they had Kyle Shanahan, they had a vision, and now they had Marquise, the speed demon. He was brought in to take the top off defenses, to stretch the field, and flip the script. And while the record was trash, Goodwin had moments, like a 59-yard bomb that reminded everyone why he was drafted. Still, he caught just 42% of passes thrown his way. He's fast, but can he catch under pressure? Is he choking? The media noticed. Critics circled. Or maybe, just maybe, life was the one circling him. Because while defenders were dragging him down on Sundays, something else was pulling at his soul all week. Every day, all day. See, back in college, Marquise and Morgan had suffered a miscarriage. No cameras, no headlines, just pain. Real, private pain. And now in 2017, Morgan was pregnant again, but the doctors dropped a bomb. Basically a coin flip. 50-50 that the baby lives. Marquise was playing hard, but teammates noticed he wasn't fully there. During film, he'd just drift. In the locker room, he stared at his phone, not scrolling, just looking, like he was waiting for a text that might shatter his world. This wasn't just a rough season. This was a man on the edge. You think of guys like Ricky Williams, all-world talent, but they cracked under the pressure of life beyond football. You wonder, was Marquise next? By November 2017, the Niners still hadn't won a game. Shanahan needed something, anything, to prove the team had a pulse. And Goodwin, he needed more than a touchdown. He needed a miracle, because one play was about to change everything. November 12th, 2017. It's 4 a.m. Morgan Goodwin, Marquise's wife, is rushed to the hospital. She's only 19 weeks pregnant. The doctors already warned them. He knew, but you're never ready for the words. I'm sorry, he didn't make it. Their son, Marquise Jr., was gone. A stillborn. A baby born dead. As Marquise holds his tiny hand, he prays, he cries, his whole world stops. And then, Morgan says something no one saw coming. She tells him to go play. The 49ers were 0-9. No playoff hopes. Just another Sunday. But Morgan looked her husband in the eyes and said, play for him. Let the world know he was here. So, he suited up. Only a few people knew what he was carrying under that jersey that day. Not just pads, not just grief. He was stepping onto the field as a father who just buried his son and didn't even get a full day to mourn. He was the most dangerous man in the world that day, and few knew. Second quarter, quarterback C.J. Beathard drops back. He fires deep. Goodwin hits another gear. He smokes Janoris Jenkins, one of the NFL's top corners, leaving him in the dust. The ball arcs perfectly. He catches it in stride, 83 yards, untouched, as he crosses the goal line and drops to his knees. Hands to the sky, tears in his eyes, silence in the stadium. It's not a celebration, it's a message. My son was here. He mattered. The 49ers won the game that day, 31-21, their first win of the season. But for Goodwin, it wasn't about the scoreboard. That TD was a tribute and a goodbye. After the game, he posted a photo on Instagram, his massive NFL hand cradling the impossibly tiny hand of his son. No caption could explain the pain. The post blew up on social media. Fans poured in with love. Players across the league reached out. It was one of those rare moments where the NFL felt human again. In 2018, Morgan got pregnant again, this time twin boys. Same condition, sadly same result. At 19 weeks, again, she went into labor. One boy died in the womb, the other lived for 30 minutes. This one broke them. After this, Marquise missed games. The Niners said it was for personal reasons, but insiders knew. His stat line dipped, but who would blame him? He showed up, tried to run routes, while carrying that kind of pain. In fact, 2017 would be his peak season. 56 catches, with 962 yards, and the respect of a nation. But now the question hung heavy in the air. Was that his high point, or the start of his collapse? One touchdown wasn't enough to outrun grief, and the storm hadn't passed. It had sadly just begun. After the tragedy in 2017, he could have walked away. Most players would have. Who would blame him? Losing one child is devastating. Losing 3, that's unspeakable. But Marquise stayed, and he fought. He leaned on the only two things left holding him up, Morgan and God. And when the cameras came rolling, Marquise didn't hide. He told his story. Not for attention, but for the thousands of other parents who'd been there too. The media didn't spin it. They listened. For once, the league saw the man behind the jersey, and the fans responded. Social media lit up with love. His TD celebration for his son was reshared millions of times. People who didn't even watch football started following him. He wasn't just a star receiver anymore. He was something bigger, a symbol of strength through the worst pain imaginable. The 49ers took notice too. In 2018, they gave him the Len Eshmont Award, the team's highest honor, given to the player who best exemplifies the inspirational and courageous play. He also received NFL's George Halas Award for overcoming adversity. He was turning grief into light, but that didn't mean it stopped hurting. Fans knew, and most showed support, but some trolls were a different story. Imagine dealing with that while barely surviving mentally. Still, the Niners believed in him. They handed him a 3-year, $18.85 million extension. Big bag, big pressure. Now he wasn't just playing for pride. He was playing to prove he still belonged. But he never forgot where he came from. First thing he did? Bought a home for his mother and sister back in Texas. His sister has cerebral palsy. Marquise has called her his motivation since college. While the world judged his stats, he stayed grounded in what mattered to him. Faith, family, and giving back. And yet, the vibes around him shifted. 49ers fans who once thought he'd be their speedster savior now whispered what ifs. ESPN debates turned somber. Incredible heart, but underwhelming career. Hot takes flew on socials. His touchdown clips were still going viral. Tributes, memorial edits, faith in sports montages. But on the field, the buzz was fading. Not because he wasn't trying, but because life kept throwing punches faster than even Marquise could run from. And now, the pressure was on. He had the contract, he had the story, but did he still have the game? After his breakout season, with 56 catches and 962 yards, Marquise Goodwin looked like he was finally ready to live out the potential scouts once raved about. But it never happened. He never came close to that level again. In 2018, grief took its toll. And in 2019, it was the injuries. The 49ers placed him on injured reserve by December. By the time the 2020 season hit, Marquise opted out completely. His wife Morgan was pregnant again. And after everything they'd already been through, he wasn't risking COVID. Football could wait. Family couldn't. But in this league, the moment you step away, the world moves on. After sitting out 2020, the Philadelphia Eagles traded for him, then cut him. He signed with the Chicago Bears in 2021. Flashes of brilliance, including a 104-yard game against the Ravens and a 49-yard TD. But he finished the season with just 313 yards. That would be his highest total for the rest of his career. In 2022, he tried again, this time with the Seahawks. He made a few plays, even scored a touchdown in Germany during the league's international showcase, but the world wasn't watching anymore. In 2023, he joined the Cleveland Browns, hoping for a comeback. But life had other plans. He was diagnosed with blood clots in his legs and lungs. Doctors shut him down before training camp even got rolling. He never played a snap in Cleveland. That was the last straw. Not with his heart, but with his body. At this point, Goodwin wasn't a wide receiver. He was a drifter. Again, the whispering of what no one wanted to say out loud. And yet, his story off the field kept writing itself. Morgan's surgery worked. In 2020, they welcomed a daughter, Marae. In 2022, they welcomed Marquise Jr. again, a name they refused to give up on. This time, he made it home. In 2023, they launched the Who is Goodwin Foundation, focused on helping parents grieve the loss of infants, created spaces for people who felt invisible in their pain. But the ghosts never left. Marquise posted, "Some mornings I'm still in that hospital room. Some days, I still feel him in my arms." He wasn't catching passes anymore. He was now coaching kids, working on his YouTube channel, Goodwin SZN, and raising his family in peace. But this wasn't the NFL career he dreamed about. No Super Bowl, no gold jacket, no All-Pro. ESPN quoted him in 2021, "I gave it everything I had, but maybe God had other plans." Fans still debate it. Was Marquise Goodwin robbed by fate, or did the league just pass him by? Either way, the story isn't easy, because real life rarely is. This story isn't about numbers. It isn't about Pro Bowls, rings, or highlight reels. It's about a man who ran faster than almost anyone on earth, just not enough to escape heartbreak. It was never just about football. It was about proving he was still standing. Even when the world gave him every reason to collapse, he never became a Hall of Famer. He won't be remembered for his stats, but maybe that's not the point. Because Marquise Goodwin did something most athletes never do. He turned pain into purpose. He turned tragedy into testimony. He gave others the words to grieve, the space to feel, and the strength to keep going. So what do you call that? A bust, or a man who wanted to be a father more than winning the Super Bowl? Was Marquise Goodwin's story one of failure, or something deeper? And if you've ever felt like life hit harder than any linebacker, just remember, you don't have to be undefeated to be unforgettable.